How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper. My goal in this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading with the prices going up or down. Bitcoin spikes 10% on false report of BlackRock ETF approval. So Cointelegraph said that the US SEC approved BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust ETF. Later they took it down and they said they're investigating what happened and apologized, but this isn't the first time they've let out some false information. Binance crypto exchange will stop onboarding UK customers. At 5 p.m. UK time, no new British customers will be able to sign up to the exchange. It added that encouraged existing users to be well informed before investing in cryptocurrencies on the platform. This is from the FCA, I believe. Yeah, the FCA. Britain's FCA dropped new rules last week which require crypto firms to register with the regulator and have their marketing approved by an FCA authorized firm. Binance used rebuildingsociety.com to have its promos and ads approved in the UK, but the FCA last week added the firm to its list of regulated companies banned from promoting crypto services in Britain. They did say they're going to work on it. Binance said Monday that it was currently looking for a new FCA authorized provider so that it could comply and continue to onboard new customers. Bitcoin mining activity surges as difficulty soars to new peak. Bitcoin's mining difficulty level has risen by 6.47%, making it even more challenging for Bitcoin miners to uncover new blocks. According to data from CoinWars, after the last update, Bitcoin's mining difficulty, which is the estimated number of hashes required to mine a block, is now at 61.03 trillion. So it takes that many exahashes. Bitcoin's mining difficulty is readjusted every 2016 blocks, which takes about every 2 weeks, it says. The adjustment period allows for the network to evaluate whether miners have been able to find new blocks faster or slower than the target time of 10 minutes per block, and the mining difficulty is increased if blocks are being mined too fast and decreased if it takes longer than 10 minutes to mine a block. Blocks are being mined too quickly, so they had to change things in order to make blocks get mined slower. Over on our Dixie, today we are getting lower highs, heading back down, starting a bit of a rounding top. We are breaking below our lower EMA. If you're not familiar with these EMAs, we are using Market Cipher A and Market Cipher B. Again, for anyone that might be new, that is Market Cipher B here and Market Cipher A here. This is TradingView, which is free, and these indicators are also free. So I suggest if you want to follow along, you use them. Real quick, here's the setup, there's the inputs, there's the styles. So if you want those to get these EMAs, the proper colors and proper time frames, that's what you'll need to pause on. We are starting to take a little bit of a dip, heading back down to support. RSI is starting to fall, momentum is starting to push out, our stochastic's starting to round away, and our VWAP did make a new high, but it's starting to head back down toward that neutral, so I would keep a close eye on it. If we get a confirmation red candle after this, then we could see a push to our support, and possibly a break of support if we continue down. We would make a descending triangle if we did push down to support, so keep that in mind as well. We could come down, touch it, come up, come down, and then break it. So we might not just break it the first time we touch it. Over on our total, we did try to break through a bunch of our resistances, tried to break through this main one here, tried to break through the Fibonacci resistance, and we got stopped by 2 of our EMAs. We did manage to break through the blue EMA, and our green EMA is curling up pretty strongly, so we could see continual pushes up if this rounding for the lower EMA continues and leads to these higher EMAs. RSI is trying to head up, stochastic's trying to push forward, that VWAP is in the bullish territory, the money flow not so much. Even though we got a pretty good pump, the money flow is really not anywhere to be found. Momentum is trying to push up, but this could just be a big manipulation pump that could end up fading to the downside as that ETF did not get approved. We are pushing here on our dominance. We are touching this previous resistance. I'm not sure if we would make a new pattern real quick. We can check. This could be a rising wedge, which if that is the case, that would not be very good for us, as a rising wedge would break us to the downside. And with one this big, it would break us down pretty bad. Real quick. That could take us down below these black EMAs and below this low back here before we got that run up. So I would watch out. If we get a red candle tomorrow and confirm a resistance point here and start to pull back, that could end up being pretty dangerous. However, if we do could also draw like a symmetrical triangle here too, which would have a 50-50 possibility. But this cuts more candle tops and has more supports resistances than that symmetrical triangle, so it's a little bit stronger of a pattern to draw. Over on Bitcoin futures, we are trying to pump out of our flag here to the upside. We are again stopped out by resistance right around here. So we did try to fill our gap up, like I said. We tried to pump up, blast past it, and we got shot down pretty quick. This rejection, if we do continue to curl out and start a red candle tomorrow, if this momentum starts to pull away, we would have long upper shadow candles that could suggest buyers are losing strength, and we are going to fill two gaps to the downside now, and then possibly come up and fill this gap later. We also have that third gap to the bottom way down there, which gives us that 20K price point we've been talking about for some time. So over on Bitcoin, it's a little hard to see with the color of these waves. We have our value area high here, right around that 29.4 level, almost 29.5. We did wick through, tried to go above it, but we got rejected. We are again rejected by the top of our golden pocket, kind of sitting right under that resistance area that I did mention that we would come up to, and we pretty much came up perfectly to. So if we are not able to see some strong green candles from this point on, it's very likely we will start to push out and see lower price action. I am going to delete this pattern as this pattern is well invalidated. I'm going to clean up some of these lines here real quick, make it a little easier to see. We had a symmetrical triangle we broke down from, but then that rumor pumped us back up. So we got a little bit of a fake pump up going. This could be a bit of a cup trying to form. I would keep an eye out for any possibility of that. But overall, this looks like more of a scam pump unless we get some strong green candles to follow this. This green dot followed by the reversal arrow usually shows that we're going to drop. So that's a little concerning to see here. I don't know if we'll have any examples. Did not mean to move that. Yeah, kind of hard to find any examples of that right now. Yeah, there's not really any examples in any recent history. We probably had to look higher. But overall, that could drop us down. We are coming back down to some supports right around this area here. That is a value area high for this volume profile. This is a lower, that's a bigger volume profile that we have here. So we have multiple profiles here. I believe this is the point of control for the profile that brought us way up. This was a profile just for this range that excluded these and treated these as more of like scam pumps. So I'm going to delete this one just to remove some of the confusion. So we are coming up. We are meeting, getting somewhat of a bounce off that point of control. That is good for us. If we can continue forward with green candles, we would get some bullish momentum. We have a double red dot on momentum. It is starting to roll away. Our VWAP's pushing into the bearish territory. If that VWAP continues to push down, that money flow could flip into the bearish territory and our momentum could continue down. If that does happen, we're likely going to reject this area and see lower price targets. RSI is starting to kind of dip as our stochastic is trying to gain some strength, but really doesn't have much room to go. So if it starts to break away from the zone, that RSI is likely going to curl out. The way the RSI is pointing, that could happen soon. If we look at the 2 hour, we are trying to run up along this EMA, but we're getting weaker candles as we continue forward, so this run up may begin exhausted. Our momentum does have slight bearish divergence here that did trying to bring us down. Really hasn't played out yet, so I would watch if that does play out. If we get a strong green candle push above this point of control, we could invalidate that possibility. RSI is starting to go flat, stochastic starting to round away. We have a red dot on our RSI suggesting that our RSI wants to break to the downside. Money flow is getting higher highs with higher lows, so we do have a bullish trend, but our VWAP is maintaining in this bearish territory. As this VWAP comes down and makes a lower low, and then comes back up and rejects the bullish territory, we could start a bearish trend then. Over on the 1 hour, we have bearish divergence heavy on our momentum pushing down, same with stochastic. RSI is starting to slip. Our money flow wants to push forward, but it's struggling to meet a strength above this 18. So if we are not able to break above this 18 and hold, we are likely going to see a pretty decent move to the downside. That VWAP is in the bearish territory, but we are just zigzagging around with the money flow being bullish. If we continue to do that, we are going to see continual price action up. However, this could be a bit of a rising channel that does have a bearish possibility to break you down as well. So I would watch if this money flow maintains bullish, that will be good. And if this VWAP keeps trending where it is, that would be good. But if we see the VWAP break down sharply and the money flows start to come out, then it's very likely we could see lower price action. Remember, we do have those lower gaps on futures, and futures does tend to drive the Bitcoin price. So if we are going to fill those gaps, then Bitcoin is likely going to fill that as well and drop with futures. Stochastic's trying to run up, RSI is trying to push up. We have a wick to the support zone. We did reject it, so pretty much where I said in line for here as well. Money flow's trying to head up, VWAP's trying to push up, momentum's trying to come up with a double green dot. So overall, we are trying to get some bullish momentum, but if these lower time frames look weak, then that bullish momentum is likely going to fade away. We're not really making a handle here like I said to watch for. We kind of rejected away, didn't make a full-bodied candle. So we may not see a cup and handle like I said could happen. Our stochastics overall getting bearish divergence and pushing out. RSI is starting to lose strength. Our momentum looks like it wants to fall to the bearish side as our VWAP is struggling to maintain any bullish action and looks like it wants to break toward the bearish side. Now money flow is kind of zigzagging around, so I would keep a close eye on these lower time frames since this 4 hours is getting really tight. If the lower time frames break bearish and hold bearish, it is likely this 4 hour will come under and push us lower. Over on the 2 hour, we are trying to push above some EMAs. We are doing good, but they are pretty tight, so I would watch for any kind of rejections. RSI is starting to round out, stochastic wants to run up. Our momentum's overall getting lower highs, even though price is trying to trend up, so we have bearish divergence there. Our money flow is trying to maintain around this 14 zone. If we break down through the zone and that VWAP starts to push under, it is likely we could get sucked down and see lower price action. This is a bit of a rising channel that could be a bearish pattern to drop us down as well. That VWAP struggling to get higher highs and it's getting lower lows. So if this VWAP breaks to the bearish side, we could start a bearish trend from here, so I would watch out for that. Over on the 1 hour, we're pretty much zigzagging around here too, not very much different. Stochastic's trying to run up, RSI wants to head up, but if that stochastic starts to push down, that RSI is likely going to follow. Momentum's still making bearish divergences and getting lower highs. Our VWAP is getting lower highs and getting close to that neutral, and the money flow is struggling to maintain bullish strength. If this 1 hour we see the VWAP and money flow flip bearish, and they hold there for some time and the money flow can't break above, then it is very likely we'll round away and push lower and break away from this zone and see this pattern fully play out. Over on Anchor for the daily, we are trying to continue up back to our resistance area of our flag, but we got stopped out. Stochastic and RSI want to run up. Our VWAP and money flow want to push up, and our momentum's trying to continue higher as our VWAP is pushing us higher. Over on the 4 hour, we did have a wick through our resistance, and then we ultimately broke down with a long lower shadow candle. If we are not able to reclaim that wick and push through that resistance, then it is very likely that the bears could take control and we could finally see this lower gap fill. Momentum's getting bearish divergence. Our RSI is starting to get bearish divergence. Our stochastic's getting bearish divergence. Overall, we're not looking too good. Our money flow is starting to push lower lows with lower highs, and our VWAP is starting to flirt with that bearish territory. If we start getting lower lows with lower highs on the VWAP as well, it is likely we'll see lower price action. Over on the 2 hour, we are doing pretty decent. We're running through our higher EMAs with our lower EMAs. If this trend continues, we could have a pretty strong move forward going. However, if we just band over and round away, kind of like we did over here where we crossed through and then we banded over and rounded away, we could be in store for some lower lows. Momentum's getting bearish divergence, RSI is getting bearish divergence, our stochastic's getting bearish divergence. Overall, we're not looking good. Our money flow is struggling to maintain above this 14 and overall pushing away. At VWAP is getting lower highs. If it comes back down and continues with consistent or lower lows, we could see the bears start to take control from here. Over on the 1 hour, we have a gap to the downside here locally, so that could start to break down, and maybe we could finally fill this gap way back down here and our other lower gaps. But we're going to have to evaluate how our other indicators are looking. Stochastic's trying to push up, RSI is overall trending out, that VWAP's struggling to get new highs, and it is getting back down toward that neutral, so if it starts to roll away here and makes a lower high, we could break to the bearish side. Momentum is struggling as well, as that VWAP's just clinging to bullish territory, and the money flow is struggling to maintain a bullish strength as well. Back here we did cross bullish, but we made lower lows. We did make a higher high, so that could have a bullish effect on us. But if we come down and make a consistent low, we could try to make a lower high, at which point if we did make a lower high afterwards, then we could see price action start to fall away. Over on XRP, we did try to break through into our flag, but we did get rejected. Our RSI is trying to head up, Stochastic's trying to run up, our VWAP is trying to push forward, and our money flow is struggling to get through this -5. If money flow is not able to break through this -5 tomorrow, it is very possible we will see a rejection of this pattern and lower downside. It's very possible we may come down, break this lower value area low on our volume profile. If we broke that, then we could trend to our value area low for our bigger volume profile way down here. Our momentum is trying to push up with our VWAP, but with the money flow in a bit of a spot where it could meet resistance, I would watch the lower time frames. If they start going red, we could start to fall away. Over on the 4 hour here, real quick, if you haven't already, smash that like, hit the subscribe, and join us in the Discord. But we have a double red dot on our momentum that is starting to fall away. Stochastic is starting bearish divergence and starting to roll away. Our RSI wants to head up, but with the way that Stochastic's looking, that could be short-lived. Our money flow is trying to push forward. Our VWAP is trying to maintain a bullish trend, so we are trying to push up with some good signs. We'll have to watch these lower time frames to make sure those signs continue. Over on the 2-hour, we are coming up meeting a higher EMA. We are showing signs that we may get rejected. Our momentum does have a green dot as our VWAP wants to go bullish, but the VWAP doesn't have very much strength. If the VWAP doesn't pick up here, then we could see a push to the downside. However, if the VWAP does pick up and the money flow manages to make a bounce, we could try to retest this resistance area. If we are able to get some strong green candles at that point, we could break through, fill the wick, at which point you'll want to watch for a retest and a solid bounce if we're going to continue up from there. Stochastic is pushing forward, RSI is trending up, and money flow is clinging to the bullish territory, and the VWAP is struggling to get bullish territory. That VWAP currently has a lower high with a lower low, so if it pushes out here, that could start a bearish trend. Over on the 1-hour, we have a red dot on RSI signaling that RSI wants to drop. Stochastic's getting bearish divergence, momentum's getting bearish divergence. Money flow is maintaining bullish momentum, but is struggling to get above this 12 zone. If we keep within this range, we can keep sidestepping up, where we keep above the bullish territory. However, if we see money flow break to the bearish side and VWAP start to weaken, then we will start to see a round out and lower price action. That VWAP is struggling to get new highs. It's at about 7.7. If it doesn't manage to break through this zone, we have rejected a few times before. If it does reject and money flow starts to come out, then we could see a push to the downside. However, if VWAP rejects and our money flow maintains bullish strength, we could still stair step back up. Over on Algo for the daily, we are trying to push off support. RSI wants to continue up. Our stochastic's trying to continue forward. Money flow is slightly bullish and our VWAP is slightly bullish. This is a long upper shadow candle, so that's not very positive, as that could signal that buyers tried to push us up, but the sellers managed to keep us within this range. Over on the 4-hour here, we have a manipulation X here that brought us down. We are trying to get an inverted hammer candle. So that inverted hammer candle tried to push us up, but now we're getting a hammer candle that wants to bring us back down. It is also a long lower shadow candle though. So if we're followed by a strong green candle after this, we will see a push forward. However, if we get a weak green candle and then a stronger red candle, it is very likely we could come down, test support for a break. Our stochastic's overall pushing out. RSI's trying to pump up, but it's starting to lose strength. That momentum is getting bearish divergence. VWAP's pushing down with lower lows, and that money flow is rejecting that bullish territory. If this money flow stays bearish and this VWAP keeps fluttering in between bullish and bearish, we're likely going to see an inch to the downside. We could just start stair stepping down. RSI's trying to go up, our stochastic's trying to head up. This is on our 2-hour, but we do have bearish divergence on our momentum that wants to bring us out. Money flow's breaking bearish, and our VWAP is in the bearish territory. It is trying to go bullish, but if it doesn't get a new high above this 16, which should be a pretty strong push, then we could see a bearish push to the downside and a bearish trend start to resume. Over on the 1-hour, RSI is trying to trend up. Stochastic wants to get a bullish cross and push forward. Our VWAP's trying to run up, and our money flow is in the bearish territory, but it's trying to come back up through the neutral. Again, watch if the money flow can cross bullish. If it doesn't cross bullish strongly, then the VWAP crossing up doesn't really have much effect. But if the money flow can pump up into the bullish territory and the VWAP continues up, then we would see a pretty significant pump. However, if VWAP rolls over and money flow continues to edge out, we're likely going to retrace gains and see lower price targets. That's across most coins. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a wonderful night.